Hi, everybody. Welcome to Through Our Lens, episode number 2. I'm currently here with Jade Panares in her lovely home, which is really great in Houston, Texas. Jade, you want to tell us about yourself?
Hey, I'm Jade Panares, and I am a first-gen Filipino American. I'm living in Houston. I was born here, raised here, and I am a musician. I'm a music educator, a performer with different ensembles locally, and I'm happy to share a little bit about my life with you.
Jade and I are really close. We've known each other for years. We went to undergrad together, University of Houston, go Cougs. So I'm really, really excited to have her here. She was also in the Tagalog with Friends episode, and we're here in her home, and it's such a treat to be able to talk for a bit. Something that I have never actually asked or just talked to you about is, how did you get into music, or how did you ever have this path coming into this?
Got you. So as I feel like most anybody really, but mostly in Asian cultures, we karaoke, yeah. So I remember being 4 years old and being at a party. I don't even remember whose party, but they were like, Jade, sing, come on. And I was really scared too, and I was like, ah. But my dad was like, I'll sing with you. So he gave me a mic, he got the other mic, and we sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow together.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it was cute. And everyone, at the end, everyone, you always, the kids are so good. You're just like, oh, wow. So, and it was that first moment of oh, this was fun. And that's kind of cool. And so then from then on out, I started, whenever we would visit family and we would karaoke, my relatives would actually, I don't know if you guys do this, but when you visit relatives, sometimes they'll give you money, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think I visited my family in California, and we were doing karaoke, and then right after I'd finished my song, my uncles were like, Jade, come here, and hide this from your mom. I'm like, or no, they didn't say that.
Oh, they say that all the time. But they definitely do. It's just no,
I was
don't tell me. It's just okay, yeah.
So absolutely. I think at that point, from that young age, I was starting to connect the dots of singing, money, praise. And I always felt okay, my voice is nice, I guess. I don't know. And I joined choir because of my best friend, Victoria.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
She got me into choir. We were
so cool.
I don't know. She was like, you want to do this with me? I was like, sure. And then the rest was history. I stayed in and wasn't even sure if I was going to do music, honestly. Sure, yeah. I kind of wanted to do theater for a long time.
Did you? Okay.
And then I had a theater director. He was really cool. His name was Virgilio. And he told me, he was like, look, you have a voice built for classical music. You would be amazing. And you could do, if you train, if you get the correct technique, classical training, you'll be able to sing whatever you want after that. Cool. So I was like, all right, I'll look into it. I really wanted to do musical theater, but I just had no idea how to mix or belt or anything like that. So I liked classical music. I grew up on it. I would listen to it as I went to sleep. I always found it really pretty. Oh, there it is. So when I saw my first opera, it solidified the deal.
What was it? What was your first opera?
Rigoletto.
Oh, okay.
By Verdi. And I don't remember if I was a junior. I think I was a junior in high school. Was it at
Houston Grand Opera?
It was Houston Grand Opera. Oh,
that's so cool. Okay.
And I just remember that first soprano aria. I was like, oh, that's incredible. I didn't know that you could sing like that. And I was immediately just pulled in by the whole story.
That is so cool.
So it was everything I loved, theater, you're running around on stage, you're singing this gorgeous music that it just seems humanly impossible. And then you've just got live music, it's crazy, the collaboration of everything. So I was like, yeah, vocal performance, that's what I'm gonna go for. And it was down to two choices, UH and then Sam Houston. And U of H just had Sam Houston's great, but U of H had a very welcoming vibe, and it just kind of felt right when I visited and auditioned. So yeah. And then I kind of, throughout college, I discovered my different loves for different types of music, and now I'm here. Yay.
That is so cool. I didn't know about any of that. That is so rad. This is something that I wanted to tell you earlier, is that my first and last shows, actually, So Jade and I were in a lot of operas together, either backstage or she would be on stage, or actually there was a couple times when we were on stage together actually. But I specifically remember that my first show calling at Moore's Opera Center at U of H, you were my ASM, and you were also in my last show that I called at Moore's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I was just like, this is because I was just like thinking about it. I was like, okay, like I remembered you, John, Jared, as my ASMs, and Julius, and so it was like the most confusing thing ever, just trying to get
All
everybody on
J's.
comms and everything. I remembered our flyman was also Jeff, and so it was just like, oh, it was like everybody
all the
there.
J's.
Yeah. But I remember that, and I was like, oh, this is a really fun experience. And that first show was the Crucible, and a couple of years later, that fall, my last show that I officially called as a student at U of H was Ballad of Baby Doe, and because like the next couple of shows I AD'd, so that was really, really fun, and I was just like, oh my god. So we've done so many shows together. Our first show together I think was La Rondine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was a fun one.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing, and I was still on stage. And yeah, that was like right before I started stage managing. I still didn't know what I was doing, and that was really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that. You're in ensembles right now. Do you want to talk about those?
I do. They're really cool ensembles.
Which ones are you in right now?
So seasonally, I sing with like Houston Chamber Singers, and this is a group that's run by my old high school choir director. So it's really cool to like sing under his direction again, and it's a good group of people. It's like mostly music educators around the area, some performers. Like it's a cool community. And a few years ago, we got the opportunity to sing with Hugh Jackman on the stage of the Toyota Center. Like,
Yeah.
it was mind blowing. Like, I remember like running out there. They're like, all right, go, 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 choir. And we're like running out there and we're like, a million dreams, whatever. And I like looking out at like those full seats. I was just like, whoa, this is it. I've made it. No, but it was a really cool experience. I mean, before the show, he talked to us. He was like, hey, no matter what, have fun. Like, this isn't really even about us anymore. It's about the crowd. Like, just make sure you're giving them a show and that you're enjoying this moment. So
oh my god, what a genuine moment.
Right?
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry about a mistake. Like, just have fun. I was like, okay, thank you. All
Thank
the
you,
pressure
Hugh.
gone. Thank you.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. What other ensembles are you in? You're also in Voices of Houston.
I'm in Voices of Houston. Yeah, I joined not last year, but like I guess the year before. And that is directed by a really good friend of mine named Chris Carter. He was actually assigned to be my mentor at the campus I'm working at. And he was like, I'm going to get you to come sing in my choir. And so I visited, and on day one, I just immediately fell in love with the people and the sound and the music.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different than a lot of the other groups I'm in.
Because you guys primarily like
Negro spirituals. Mm-hmm.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was just a different community. Like in most choirs, sometimes we can be a little serious and like very like maybe dare I say competitive in certain choirs.
Sure. Yeah.
This was a community that just completely like it felt like family.
A lot more warm.
Like they'd welcomed you right away. And so this was a really cool change of pace.
That is so cool.
And it really helped me in my teaching.
Okay.
So,
in what way?
I teach high schoolers, and some of the upperclassmen are very like they're serious and they're ready to work, and they want to take this as seriously as possible. But I also teach a lot of the freshmen who like they know how to be in choir, but they don't know how to be like that level of like professionalism or seriousness. And so coming right out of like ensembles that do that, for me to expect that from them was a little silly. And so it kind of taught me to just be like, okay, look, let them have fun and make sure that they're having fun and have fun with them.
Absolutely.
Because like it's not about the product that you're making, and it's not like, yes, it's great if they sound great, but it's also about the community that you're building with the people around you.
Absolutely.
Like, and the memories you're making and the moments of that music, like, and music can bring us together, but just making sure that that's a space that they feel comfortable to sing in the first place. So coming out of COVID, I will say that was pretty hard.
Did you start teaching like after COVID had started, or like just or like around the time?
I started teaching in 2020, so like
Oh my
COVID
God.
shutdown happened, and I think that fall I started long-term subbing in October.
Oh my
And
God.
it was, if I remember correctly, it was half like it was a hybrid situation at the school I was working at. It was some people online and some, like, a very small percentage of people in person. So it was very much like, okay, I'm streaming, like, here's my webcam. I'm like, all right, guys, do re mi fa sol re mi, whatever, you know. And I just was like, all right, people at home, hope you're singing along. Drop something in the chat if you
Right.
are, I don't know, like,
Right,
raise your hand if you need anything. Yeah. So
yeah, for sure.
like, there's only so much connection you can make
Right.
online with this kind of stuff.
Right.
The last group that I'm in is Houston Chamber Choir. Yeah, dude. I can't believe it. Sometimes I'm like, this isn't real.
Talk about it.
This is a group that I've always, like, kind of been like, wow, they're intense. They're incredible. Like, I want to sing with them one day, and I didn't expect it to be like 2-day, like, this year.
When did you get in?
This past year. So
oh my
this
God,
past
okay.
fall. It was my first season. It's been really helpful to me as a musician, because there's a lot of things I'm learning about myself. Like, oh, I really need to, like, just hone in on this, and I'm able to bring some of, like, what I'm learning in that group to my kids, like my
cool.
maybe more experienced groups, that I can kind of just relay that high level of music making to them. And it's just really beautiful music. Like, it's gorgeous music. It's music that I probably wouldn't have found just, like, you know, scrolling through YouTube. Like, it's exposed me to a lot of different pieces. So it's been cool.
I believe they just won a Grammy, like
2019, 2020.
Yeah, like with, like, one of their recent recordings,
albums,
right? Yeah.
Choral Works.
Yeah, that is insane. Oh my God, that is great. And now you're in it. So
yeah,
just
so
really, really
it
cool.
feels, it's very, like, to be honest, just very reaffirming to me as a musician. It's also kind of cool because not everyone in there is an educator. Like, there are a bunch of educators, but there are also people that are, like, lawyers, or
really? Okay.
or they, like, are going to medical school, or they work in admin, and it's just, like, hearing that also makes me think, like, okay, you can really do anything and still continue to sing in a choir and create high level music. Like, you just, if you want to do it, you try to make it happen, and if it's the right time, hopefully it'll happen for you, type thing. I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of that type of person that's like, I like to always be doing lots of things, which probably isn't super healthy.
I don't know. I feel like it's, you know, like, up to your own discretion. And
yeah. Like,
it's the, like, agency, I think, is, like, what gives, like, fuels me.
Yes. It's like, okay, what is my limit, and can I push past it? And then, you know, I mean, you'll know when it's like, okay, this is starting to be a bit too much, and I should probably dial it down. Like, I feel like I am, like, learning what my priorities are, and I mean, right now we're making it work, and it's good.
This is really cruddy, and, like, I'm saying this out loud because to help affirm other people that have felt this way, not because it's like, oh yeah, I'm enabling you, but it's this feeling of, like, I feel like a failure dropping the thing, or, like, maybe not necessarily to that extent, but it's certainly like, oh, like, I couldn't be the best that I wanted to be at that level that I wanted to be at, or, like, to be performing at that level. I've never regretted dropping, like, an extracurricular or, like, an extra ensemble or whatever it may be, because I feel like it's, like, you know, as much as I have, I think I told myself this, is like, as much as I have the agency to go and do the thing, I also have the agency to not as well. And I think that's the hard part of reminding myself that. And it's hard. I mean, but, like, the thing is, like, you know, if you can do it, keep doing it. And, like, I don't think you'll know until you do it. But I think it's, again, like, understanding within your own self, like, okay, that's my limit. Yeah. Do you want to talk about growing up Filipino?
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so, like,
because you were born here.
Yeah, I was born here. So, like, I'm gonna say it. I feel, and it's tough to say this because I'm very proud of, like, the Filipino heritage and culture. I sometimes feel like I'm very, like, I don't want to say whitewashed, assimilated. Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Like, growing up, I wasn't ever like, oh, I can't believe this. But I always wondered, like, why. I was like, I didn't really have any Filipino friends growing up until maybe like middle of high school.
Okay.
And so I was kind of just like, oh, I'm not like I don't really know what these traditions are that you guys are doing. Like my family does something different.
Sure. Yeah.
Which was fine. Like I was like, oh, this is fine. I like this. This is, you know, how I'm being raised, and this is great. But like when I started to meet like other people who shared similar traditions, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool to like relate to you and to feel connected to somebody in this way. And I will say, like, as I've gotten older, I've definitely just like gotten even more proud of like being able to represent like both.
Yeah.
But I wish I had learned a little bit more about like Filipino culture, past like our traditions, like history and mythology, and I do know some.
There's a lot more.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I've learned a couple of folktales that I deeply hold dear to my heart, and I think it's just tough because there may be just a lot of variety in the Philippines. Like my parents, so I wish I learned Tagalog.
Okay.
I wish I learned Tagalog.
Yeah.
And my parents didn't teach me because they speak Bisaya.
Oh, okay.
Like they know Tagalog too,
yeah.
but at home they're comfortable speaking Bisaya. So they're like, if we teach you Tagalog, you're not gonna understand what we're saying. And if we teach you Bisaya, when we go back to the PI, like they're not gonna know what you're saying.
Wow. Okay. So for anybody that doesn't know, there's like 185 different languages, like Filipino languages, spoken, and the main one I believe is Tagalog.
Mm-hmm.
But like I think like a fairly close second is Visaya, and so yeah, okay. That I've never thought about that ever, because like, you know, I grew up with Tagalog, and a lot of people, even when they have immigrated, they lose it a lot of times.
Sad.
Yeah. But I never thought about like, oh, like we speak Bisaya, or like we may speak Ilocano or whatever. It's very much just like, oh, like, but if we teach you Tagalog, that is crazy. That is insane. You might as well be speaking like German. I mean, like that they would understand. Oh my God, I never thought about that.
Yeah. So I mean, it was like, now I'm learning. Like now I'm like, I have a little notes folder, and I'm like, all right, cool. What is that word? What'd you just say? I know that. I heard that a lot as a kid. You know, it means go to sleep. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I kind of have like, okay, here it is in Tagalog, and here it is in Bisaya, and I'm every now and then.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Like there's like the buzzwords.
Yeah.
Like that will say, and I'm like, bathroom, or like, eat right now, like, or you're angry. I don't know, like just fun stuff like that. But I wish I could converse in it. That'd be fun.
It's funny because I mean, even now I love hearing other dialects, Filipino dialects in general, because it sounds the same. But if you listen closely, it's not at all. And I'm just kind of like, I think you're speaking
what is that?
Something.
Like, I'm gonna look real quick and just pull this up. Like, okay, two completely different things. I'm gonna say the word why. So we have nyanoman, which is Bisaya. And I hear my parents say that all the time. Yeah, no man, you know, but it's, what is it?
Bucket, yeah. in Tagalog. In Tagalog, yeah.
And so like I've never heard bucket at home. It's always nyanoman.
Wow.
Nyanoman, like nyanoman, you know, or
I never knew that. Wow. Okay, like you're teaching me right now. Yeah.
Oh, so like, what's this? Unsani in Bisaya, or ano ito?
Ano ito? Yeah, I grew up with ano ito. Yeah.
So it's like similar but so different.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
for me, it still sounds like Tagalog, or it very much sounds like Filipino in general. Oh, that's crazy. Oh my God. Yeah,
kind of wild. And so now that I'm thinking about it, like, it's kind of cool how much, and like they have in, like, my parents is kind of who I'm talking about, like they have in their heads, and like any other like person that knows like multiple dialects or like languages.
If I may ask, did you ever have any trouble going into the field of study that you went into?
I think because I was the third born, I have two older sisters, and they're a lot older than me. Like the age gap is 19 and 15 years. They're successful in their own ways, and I think my parents were like, whatever. And when I told them, I was like, I think I want to do music. I was very lucky that they supported me.
Oh wow.
They supported me in that decision. They were like, okay. Like, and I mean, my mom had been paying for my voice lessons when I was in high school, you know, so like, and they, you know, liked my voice. Like it was something I really wanted to do. If y'all are watching this, like tell me, like, why did you let me do this? Like, I'm happy that they did.
Yeah.
But I
yeah.
hear so many stories about many parents just not wanting their kids to do music at all.
Well, that's why I asked,
Right?
because like I feel like you know, I
have students that are Filipino and they're like, my parents are like, call me, you know, are saying that this is worthless and that it's not going to get me anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at the end of the day, sometimes it's not about money. You know, sometimes
100%.
it's about like, what do you want to do and what level of fulfillment do you want from this life? Not saying that higher paying jobs don't offer fulfillment, but it's, you know, it's what you want to pursue. And it sucks that there's still parents like that, you know, but I get it. I do.
I was watching this podcast with like Cal Penn, and I think his parents were immigrants, and I think it's setting a certain bar that like parents have have set, where it's like, I went through all of this because like immigration to this country is like atrocious, and so immigrating here and like getting all the paperwork done and like, you know, getting naturalized and everything, it's such a huge long process. And I feel like it's not necessarily a slap to the face to them, but it's certainly this thing of just like, oh, like I immigrated and did all these things, and like for you to become a singer, or like for you to work in the arts and like not be an engineer or a doctor or something. I feel like our cultures are certainly this thing of, you know, they can see the value in that, or they can put the value in that because it's more so quantifiable. And yeah, I asked that because, like, you know, like I feel like a lot of older generations are certainly like, oh, like I don't want you to do
music, the arts. No, I don't.
It's yeah.
I think also, well, I mean, it was pretty tough. I don't really want to get into like what college was like for me in my first year. I was kind of a mess.
Same.
It was just after my first year, you know, well, the first couple years of college, I was like having a really tough time. I was going through depression, honestly, and I had developed a lot of like anxiety that just poofed. I mean, it kind of started. It happened my junior year of high school, and followed me into college. And so being on my own, it really kind of amplified that just feeling. And I wasn't really getting the help yet. I was lucky that my family was supportive in like different ways, whether they knew it or not, and that my friends were supportive, whether they knew it or not.
I definitely did not.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I kept it under wraps with most people.
I think we fight our own battles in our own way, which like isn't like, oh, like I'm trying to be my own hero. It's like, well,
it's like I gotta just keep doing this thing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I knew that music was what I wanted to do, and I wanted to commit to this, and I didn't want to drop out, and I didn't want to quit or give up. But there was definitely a time that I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel so overwhelmed, and I wasn't sure if like what I was doing was right. I wasn't even like, I had no idea. Like I just felt very lost.
Sure, yeah.
And I was pouring myself into all these different things. Like we did operas together. We did small groups, you know.
We did.
We did
we did.
Acapella groups. Like,
yeah, we did.
Those are a great place for me to like, you know, bond with my friends and just like feel kind of cast away that. I will say like it was like
right? it was like a level of, it was to a certain degree of just like me feeling the most authentically myself, like
of yourself.
Yeah, like within those groups. Like I will say like Floriat was like one of my favorites just because it allowed me to sing the way that I wanted to sing. Not like Dr. Weber didn't, but it was certainly this feeling of like
more free.
Yeah. It was amongst peers, and it was this like low pressure about it that like allowed me to just be like, oh, like I, you know, it was again, for lack of like a better term of it, was like finding my own voice about it. And yeah, sorry.
No, yeah, you're good. No, it was definitely like, I feel that like these groups helped heal a lot, and like I don't want to say that I was feeling the burnout, but I was, and not from like music per se, but just like everything else, like having to, I I don't know. I guess, yeah, from music. It was a lot, and I could see why certain people would like limit themselves. But at the same time, I liked being in all these things, and I didn't want to choose anything to give up. But I definitely felt by like my junior year that I was really just ready to go, like ready to get that degree. And I mean, I'm sure everyone feels that way. But yeah, it's a tough environment for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And it wasn't until like, and I'm sure everyone has this like experience with a certain concert, and it just like brings you back to your love. But it was the chorale competition in Debrecen, Hungary.
This was the Bela Bartok choral competition in Hungary, and concert chorale from University of Houston competed in it.
Mm-hmm.
What was really cool was that like concert chorale competed in it, but you had to audition into
that group.
Into that group.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was in the summertime, so it was like not a required thing to do, but we if you wanted to do that thing, there was like extra rehearsals, extra everything, extra music,
assignments every week,
yeah.
recordings that you would send to the people in your section.
Right.
It was a lot, and I mean it got us to where we were, and I like it was good to keep people accountable.
100%.
You know.
Yeah.
So even though it was kind of like, oh my gosh, like I'm fine, but I have to record and do it's just, you know, like just yeah, I felt like I probably just wasn't good enough to be in that group. But we got to the concert, like the final one, and you know, even though like I was like really just not feeling great about myself that entire trip, that final concert when we sang, I had a like, dare I say, spiritual experience. Like I was just singing my music, and I know I was putting like 110% in, and in my brain I thought like, I know I'm doing this so everyone else around me is too, and this sounds good, this feels good. And it was like spun a jewel, which like it wasn't my favorites to learn, sure. But it was like it's a really pretty piece, but I was not like, this is my favorite. But when I was singing it, I just thought like, oh my god, I'm here and I'm doing this competition overseas with an incredible group of people under an incredible director, and I can't believe I have this opportunity. And I've just been feeling so bad about myself for the past, I don't know, however many weeks, and we're here and it's happening, and I'm so grateful for this. Like it was just a click, and I felt everything just like fall off my shoulders, and I was able to just sing and like put all of my soul into it. Yeah. And after that, when we walked out, everyone was crying.
I remembered watching a video after I forgot who posted it, but after the final performance, before they announced the winners,
mm-hmm.
Where like everybody exited,
mm-hmm.
the crowd exited, and everybody was just like had this like very cathartic, just like feeling of like, oh my god, like of like, oh my god,
like we like walked out just being like, wow.
Before they knew who
won,
how it was gonna be like and everything, mm-hmm. and like how, you know, everybody did, all the other choirs and everything. And this again, an international competition with like everybody, you know,
from around the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know, it was before chorale ever knew anything. It was just like this, like, wow, we did the thing.
We did that, and it felt good. I remember thinking right after that performance, like I was like, if we win, yeah, like I don't care if we don't, not I don't care if we don't win, but like I was like, I feel good about that. And
nobody can take that away from you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I was like, if we win, that's awesome. If not, I got what I came here for. And I didn't even know that that's what I was coming here for, which was like, and it was a huge reconnect to music making for me. Yeah. Not that it was a dead love for me or anything, but it just reset that kind of like, you're here, girl, get back up here, like don't feel like you're here, blah, blah, boom. And so yeah, it definitely, I wouldn't say that it like cured burnout and depression or anything. Like I definitely went to like some therapy and counseling, and that like helped me figure out a lot in myself.
But it was a click. It was like
a click.
Yeah.
That was a click, and it was just me allowing myself to like trust myself and put everything that I could on the line and like trust that it was enough. And so like spoiler alert, Corral won, and like that was also it was a very like like it was we all just
it's crazy because like it's funny because Jarrell and I were in the parking lot, I think at Moore's. I forgot what we were doing. I don't know what we were doing, but we were at the parking lot of Moore's and we were watching a live stream of it. And as soon as they announced the winners, we're just like, yeah, we were both just like both in the car watching on his phone.
Oh my god.
We're like, yeah, like we like saw all you guys like, you know, like whatever. And then when we like turned on the stream off, we're just like, okay, like let's go do whatever we were gonna do. But you know, it's just like we were just like intently just like, oh my god. You know, just
like that didn't even occur to me that people were like following along with it. But like,
hardcore.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, like 100%. Like him and I, you know, obviously like weren't there, and so we're just like here in Houston, just like watching intently. We're just like, okay, like they finished the thing. And I remember, they were just like, you know, they weren't. The first language was not English, I believe.
It was Hungarian.
Yeah,
which was like a lot.
And I think they were translating.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh my god! Like, so we were just like following along, and also like Dr. Weber also does, like a group of people,
of like the friends and family
of Bella Bart,
blah blah blah.
The
group, and then I was like,
which is really cool because like, you know, people post photos and people post updates, and I was like, oh cool, like I can follow through or whatever, and I appreciated that because it felt a little bit more of a personal touch of just like, oh, like I'll keep going and like watching the thing and like and like and like you guys like also sang at different venues too, and so it was like, oh, this is neat, like that's really cool, like what an experience, and like what a pretty venue kind of thing too. So it was really, really cool. Yeah,
definitely cool to like travel and experience like new cultures. I think that's like something that music does. But then like even just like sitting at home and you're like, oh, I'm like learning some Italian music, and like but
even like Voices of Houston too is like, you know, like a culture that we're not necessarily like identifying
related to, but like here is something that I can learn from and learn about the trials that they went through. It's like, oh my god, so music connects, so we love that so.
for sure. No, I love that. Shall we have a send-off?
A good send-off.
Oh my god. Oh my god, Jade, thank you so much for being here, for being a part of this episode. Honestly, did not know a lot of like what you said. I think, you know, of course, like being friends for however long, it's always just been like cool, like what show are we in, or like what production or whatever, or like what ensemble. But it's always so nice to just be like, oh my god, like this is really rad to be able to know where you come from and like where all of this is thing, and also being vulnerable. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for like inviting me, and it's cool to like have a platform to kind of share my experiences.
Please follow us for a lot more stories, Asian American stories, which is really fun. And thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Cute.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Through Our Lens, brought to you by Wear Yellow Proudly. We release episodes every 3rd and 5th Tuesday of every month. If you like this episode, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on all of our social media platforms. See you on the next episode.